Tempe was hit by a devastating storm. Refugees flocked to the safe haven of Folca. We heard the news and docked on the island, which was buzzing with activity. It was clear. All hands were needed on deck as reconstruction efforts got underway. So we walked through the city, looking out for opportunities to help. That's when we saw a distressed young draft. We didn't know the details, but it was plain as day that something wasn't right. He was stumbling around, eyes unfocused, and staring into space. I couldn't shake the feeling that we shouldn't leave him on his own, so we ended up trailing him. We came to the edge of a cliff. Though the morning sun shone on our faces, a frigid wind blew down our backs. The draft just stood at the edge, staring at something only he could see. "Hey, careful there! With the wind whipping around like this, you might lose your footing!" The draft whirled around, taken off guard. After a while, he looked away, shrugging.
Thanks for your concern.
You look like you've got something on your mind. If you want a friendly ear, you've got him here.
I guess I do.
He smiled, though the expression didn't reach his eyes. The draft introduced himself as Karzeda. Back in Tempe, he was a jeweler's apprentice.
My childhood friend was caught up in that storm. I was in love with her. Could never get up the courage to tell her. And now it's too late.
Karzeda bit down on his lip, as if he was trying to hold back his despair. He went on, telling us that he'd hit a slump in his apprenticeship. Nothing he did could gain his master's approval. His frustration boiled over, and he got into a rip-roaring fight with his friend. Hurt, she fled from the workshop. He didn't go after her.
I wish I had, because that's the day the storm came.
Karzeda's face twisted in agony. He made a mistake, and it ended up costing him someone dear. I could understand all too well. Karzeda stared at the sunbeams as they illuminated the cliffside. His eyes were watering, and not just from the sun's rays.
When we were kids, we made a promise. Once I became a proper jeweler, I'd share my most treasured secret with her. Cowardly, yes, but that was the only way I could tell her how I felt.
It all made sense now. His deepest, darkest regret was putting off telling her what was in his heart for so long.
We made that promise ages ago. I wouldn't have been surprised if she forgot all about it.
Karzeda paused, as if remembering something. He lifted his gaze to the sky, then continued.
Oh, right. I have to go back to the mines in Tempe. There are keepsakes of hers there. I don't think she can move on without them.
I could tell how important this was to him. But when the people fled Tempe, a horde of monsters moved right on in. Actually, forget the fiends. Karzeda wasn't in shape to go anywhere right now. What do these keepsakes look like? I can head to the mines and track them down for you. Considering his condition, I wasn't about to give him room to argue. Besides, I know all about not being able to share the important stuff with a loved one while there's still time. There's so much I didn't get to tell my family. Even now, thinking of our old house makes my heart ache something fierce. That day, there was no one to greet me when I opened the door. Seeing the cold remains of my home tore open a void in my heart. But you know what? I managed to keep going because my friends were there for me. This time it was my turn to support someone who needed it. The keepsake should be somewhere around here. Might as well inspect the mine shafts as we go too. Can't just let him run amok. Time to get to work. That was too easy. gonna have to move.
Watch out! That one's got a bow!
Been saving this one.
That was great!
Now then.
Lies ahead!
You picked the wrong guy to have a shooting contest with. Here goes. Got a beat up.
Wait to run away, bud.
Got a beat up. Zeta's counting on us to find those keepsakes. Holy crap, it's him. Carzada's counting on us to find those keepsakes. Watering can, a shovel? These are the keepsakes.
Huh? Did you hear that? Whoa! More goblins! And look at the size of that one!
Light wall! Stay calm, everyone! Finish! Switch her frame!
We got the big one. I think we can rest easy.
Great! Let's head back to town.
Sheesh. They could follow the goblins. Good thing we came instead of Carzada. Carzada said his friend loved flowers. Tempeal's soil was harsh and didn't lend itself to flora, but her dream was to grow a variety of flowers and let them bloom all over the land. Knowing how much her dream meant to her, Carzada wanted to bring her gardening tools back and place them in front of her grave. His hands were trembling when I passed them over.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
He was so choked with emotion that each word sounded pained, like thorns sticking in his throat. I kept my eyes on him. It felt like if I looked away for even a second, he'd fade into the great blue beyond. He was still grappling with his hurt. You wanted to say goodbye to her properly, right? Come on, I'll go with you. I slapped him on the shoulder, silently willing him to pull himself together.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Carzada hugged the tools tightly against his chest, his teeth biting down hard on his lip. It broke my heart, seeing someone so young deal with such overwhelming tragedy. The least I could do was help him see this through.
Need something?
Just as we arrived at the cemetery, the clouds opened up, unleashing a torrent of rain. The blue sky was gone, painted over by a steely, unforgiving gray. Looking around, I saw that there were others paying their respects at different plots. Like Carzada, they probably lost loved ones to the storm. As soon as he laid eyes on the mound of earth in front of him, the dam broke. Carzada's shoulders heaved with his sobs.
Why did I say those awful things? There were so many more important things I wanted to tell you, but
He sank to his knees, crippled with grief. His fist beat at the earth, sending drops of muddy water splashing onto his face.
I didn't want that to be our last conversation. If I hadn't blown up, if we hadn't fought, I only wanted to see you smile, but I made you cry.
All I could do was watch over Carzada as he poured out the feelings he'd held back for so long. Let it out, son. It's the only way to get through it. After the visit, we made our way to a tavern. We could hear the rain beating down on the establishment. It was still day, but the sky was dark as night. Garzeda ordered the stiffest drink they had and downed it in one gulp.
My friend once showed me a flower and said that each one symbolizes something. At the time, I didn't get it, and I had other things on my mind, so I never bothered looking it up.
He shook his head, saying that he'd wished he had treasured those small, everyday moments with her. Each word struck me like a blow, reminding me of my own failures.
How am I supposed to live with this regret? It's like the storm outside, pounding on me until I give in and let it sweep me away.
I mulled over his question for a while before opening my mouth. I'm not the right person to answer that. Only your friend knows.
But how? She's...
So I told Garzeda about my wife, and about the agony of losing her. All the things I'd hoped for, things we could do as a family, were no longer possible. The chasm of remorse threatened to swallow me whole. I couldn't imagine things getting better. Not then, not ever. But I was still alive. Unlike my wife, I still had a future. Didn't that obligate me to move forward, to find meaning in being left behind, and try to fulfill what she wanted for me? Didn't that apply to Garzeda? You want me to go with you, to find that flower, I mean? Maybe finding it would give him the answers he needed.
During our stay in Seed Hollow, a certain request made its way into our hands. We were to inspect sightings of a mysterious young girl near the Seed Hollow castle.
You don't think she's a ghost, do you?
I put a hand on Lyria's shoulder to comfort her, and asked the client for more details. According to reports, the young girl appeared to be looking for something. Workers helping with the castle's restoration effort would attempt to approach her, but she would vanish before they could get close. Each sighting would spook another handful of builders, until there weren't enough hands to complete repairs. By all accounts, it seemed to be a ghost. Of course, I couldn't admit that to Lyria. It was not uncommon for spirits to take refuge in ancient ruins or castles, and play tricks on any unfortunate souls passing by. They were almost never malicious, even friendly sometimes. However, we couldn't take our chances. I just wished we had more information to work with. There was something familiar about this story. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Zega Grande Skydom. How much time had passed since our arrival here? With our battles against the Church of Avia and the pacification of many primals, it certainly felt like a lifetime. But now that things were a little quieter, we were content to return to our usual bread and butter, satisfying requests from locals. Though the crew was accustomed to quests of all sorts, one day, there came a demand that left us puzzled.
Sorry for the confusion, folks. This request isn't for the whole crew. It's an escort mission for Lancelot, specifically.
Me? But why? There were few in this Skydom who had even heard of my name. Curious, I asked about Hans, the man who had posted the quest.
Oh, you don't know him? Seems like he was real familiar with you. Anyways, he's a butler for the Lord of Grossgard.
I hesitated. There was nothing I could do that another crewmate couldn't accomplish just as well. Acknowledging a specific request for me felt discourteous in a way.
You're not at your fancy-ass court anymore, okay? On our ship, you don't have to worry about rubbing anyone's ego the wrong way. If you're interested in the job, just take it.
Though he may not have been tactful, Eugen was, as ever, a fount of wisdom. Very well, then. I shall hear what this Hans has to say.
It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Hans, butler to his lordship.
The next day, an elderly man ambled onto the Grand Cipher, leaning heavily on his cane. But looking into his eyes, I sensed deep wisdom and a sharp mind. And the pleasure is mine. I am Lancelot, a Skyfarer. Forgive me for not accepting your request at once, but I would like more details before returning an answer.
Yes, well, his lordship Ludwin is in need of an escort.
Hans explained. Ludwin was a lord of Grossgard, and he was looking for a mythical sword passed down through his family for generations. So far, his search had led them to a snowy peak, but nearby monsters made the trip too dangerous to risk without protection. Does your lord not employ a personal guard?
He does. But as this quest is for personal gain, he believes that commanding their service would be an abuse of power. However, the lords of Grossgard have never been gifted in the martial arts. So if we head to the mountains without a decent sword arm, tragedy will surely befall us.
But what led you to seek my sword arm specifically?
Well, we knew we needed a highly experienced Skyfarer. The mission is dangerous. Far too dangerous for any amateur. But perhaps more importantly, his lordship is quite the fan of yours, Sir Lancelot.
A fan? My voice cracked in surprise.
Yes, you are known as a knight exemplar, talented in both combat and scholarship. How fortunate that this very same Lancelot would come to our land and proffer his services.
Whatever accounts you've heard of me were surely exaggerated.
And so humble. Lord Ludwin will be overjoyed when he hears that we've secured your aid. The Honorable Sir Lancelot to protect us. What could be better? So, will you accept?
Though this idolatry did not sit well with me, I could see no reason to refuse. From what I'd heard, Ludwin seemed an honorable man. Besides, there was much a lord of this skydom could teach me. Very well. On behalf of our crew, I accept your request. Hans and Ludwin were waiting for me at the foot of Mount Nagelith.
It is an honor and a privilege to meet you, Sir Lancelot of Fiendrock. Hans has probably already told you who I am, but allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Ludwin, Lord Protector of Grossgard.
Though his aura was imposing and befitting of a lord, he also felt courteous and down to earth. The honor is mine. Though I am now no more than a skyfarer, I swear to protect you and yours with my life, should it come to it.
Well, whatever your title, I am glad to have your aid.
Ludwin was beaming. Hans had told me of his excessive devotion, but it was another thing seeing it in person. I suddenly felt I wasn't quite sure how to conduct myself. Right. So you believe a family heirloom is hidden among these peaks?
Not the sword itself, but the first of a series of trials that shall reveal the blade in due time.
I see. And what is the first trial?
There's a record somewhere around here which should detail the whereabouts of the sword. A little game of my family's, if you will. But on second thought, perhaps a great knight such as yourself has nobler things to do than this frivolous treasure hunt in the snow. Yes, perhaps we had better call it...
My lord.
Hans was stern, more mentor than butler.
The ancestral trials are not frivolous. Each one holds an important meaning. Those same challenges taught your father how to reign. Skies rest his soul.
Yes, you're quite right. Forgive me, Hans. So, with that settled, I shall count on you, Sir Lancelot, to provide the muscle. For as you may know, I am sadly little more than a statesman.
I am yours to command. With that, I unsheathed my twin blades and started our quest. The white dragon unfurls its wings. Come. I'll go on ahead and make sure the path is secure. For your own safety, try not to stray.
Oh, do let me know if I can be of assistance.
My lord, let's leave the fighting to the professionals, shall we?
Oh, yes, of course. Well then, Sir Lancelot, do what you do best.
Wide open! Away with you! Give it!
The bridge is down! Now what will we do?
Let's search for another path. This mountain is vast. I doubt this is the only trail.
Let's hurry along. The cold is not kind to these old bones.
That looks like a way forward.
The footing seems a bit treacherous. Please watch your step.
Monsters!
Stay behind me. I'll deal with this. Stay focused. Wide open. I think that was the last of the monsters.
What glorious form, Sir Lancelot! It is a pleasure to watch you work.
If you're unhurt, my lord, we had better proceed.
Away with you! Stay focused! Too slow.
What of these ranged fop-doodles? Do be careful, Sir Lancelot.
Don't worry. I'll close that distance in a heartbeat. Too bad for you! Fall! Wide open! You're finished! Too slow! Slow! Relent! Yeah! Is this a dead end?
No. Look! A chest!
Wait, this monster.
Get behind me! A giant eyeball! I think I've read about this monster! Nazir Bonju!
Correct. Our crew has faced it once before.
Ah, such daring do, brave Lancelot!
Away with you! Give it! You're finished! Free! Stay vigilant! Too bad for you!
Terrifying beast! A single glance and I feel frozen solid!
We'll see which is colder. Its gaze or my frost. Nay! Wide open! I believe we're safe now. After this, it's back to training.
Impressive! The Twin Fang prodigy does not disappoint.
Thank you, my lord. I hadn't done much during our climb, so the praise caught me unawares. Shall we check this chest? It could contain the record you seek.
Yes? Let's see what she's holding.
The young lord opened the box. A rather dry affair, as we already knew what to expect.
And here it is!
In his hands, he held a flaking tome, its pages warped and yellowed by age.
This takes me back. Once upon a winter, I sought out that very book with Ludwin's father.
And now it's been passed to me. But this...
As Ludwin flitted through the pages, his face twisted into expressions of greater and greater perplexity.
I can't read this at all. Is this some sort of code?
I suppressed the urge to take a glance myself. My duty was to protect, not translate. In the end, it was Hans who broke the silence.
If it pleases his lordship, shall I offer a hint?
Ludwin shook his head.
No, this is a trial that I must conquer myself. And on that note, I believe you are dismissed, Sir Lancelot. I thank you for your services today, and payment will be made forthwith.
Understood. If ever you need my help again, do not hesitate to call. Thus, my private escort mission ended without much fanfare. And yet, I had a feeling that our paths would cross once again. At least, I hoped that they would. There was something about Ludwin. His earnestness, perhaps, and his love for his comrades that resonated with me.
Need something?
My premonition proved correct.
His lordship finds himself in need of your assistance once more.
Hans's voice was almost apologetic. What troubles him?
You remember the record we found on our previous trek, don't you?
I nodded. The Lord of Grossgard was searching for a family heirloom, and this record detailed its whereabouts. However, the directions were written in code, which Ludwin had yet to decipher.
He told me, and I quote, "Hans, don't you dare bother the charming and brave Lancelot over a mere trifle." But he hasn't made any headway on his own, and I've no doubt he's secretly yearning for your aid.
I looked at the butler with some confusion. Hans, I recall you saying you'd already completed the trial with Ludwin's father.
Indeed.
Then your assistance would be far more valuable than mine.
Come now, it is a butler's duty to serve his liege's best interests, and Lord Ludwin's shall be best served with my silence.
I suppose Ludwin would never grow if Hans simply led him to the answers. Better that we pieced out the puzzle together. Very well. I accept your request.
I thank you on behalf of his lordship.
Now I was beginning to grasp at the deeper meaning behind these tests.
So this next adventure began on a day in Zega Grande like any other. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and I was soaking up some rays after a pleasant morning of grocery shopping. That's when I heard it.
Long live the Blue Sky Knights!
Yes, the fierce cry of a child in its natural habitat. Enough to strike fear into the heart of any warrior.
I've never seen you around here. Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Knights, assemble! Cannonball formation!
They came hurtling at me, faster than the wind. I stood no chance.
We're the Blue Sky Knights, servers of justice and roasters of villains. Who goes there?
But all jokes aside, these tykes were adorable. Reminded me of my own days playing Knights and Dragons. With both hands in the air, I thought long and hard about how to respond. I for sure didn't want to pull out my usual, "I'm Vane, Vice Captain of the White Dragons." I mean, capturing a real knight while playing make-believe could be an awkward sitch for the kids. But it also wouldn't be right to lie. Then, a candle lit up over my head. I'm Vane, the wayfaring chef.
Wait, you're a chef? That means you're an expert at brewing stews and baking pastries, correct?
I blinked. Hadn't expected such an energetic response. What? Oh yeah, and I've got the proof